Tell everyone to quiet down.
Thanks, Joe. You're
All right. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
I apologize for my kids' background noise, and we'll probably go on for much of the speech, if not all of the speech. The Siyum is in memory of 2 yurtzites. My grandmother's yurtzeit, which was about 3 weeks ago, Rivka Bas Yaakov Halevi, and for Sarah's mother, whose yurtzeit is in a week and a half, Naomi Rachel Bas Yaakov Chaim. I want to thank the Goldsmiths for hosting. For those that were here for the Shalom Zachar, this might seem like round 2. Same team. I guess I was sitting more for that, so that was more enjoyable. But thank you very much, and for all the cooking and for providing your home. It's just with Mishamayim that Kadosh Baruch Hu made sure you had a home that can provide. That's why you have company every single week, and grandkids, and the Merrill gatherings. We appreciate that very much. My parents and my in-laws, when we made Aliyah, they told me their goal was every year we're going to come once or twice a year. And they don't want to come for holidays, which makes it easy. You're able to, and they have no restraints besides they don't want to come for holidays. So I told them last, when they were here, last November when they were here, I basically said, hopefully next November you're going to come. I plan to make a Siyum HaShas. It means a lot to Sarah and I that our parents are here. I said this when I spoke to Rabbi Khan's here on Sunday. I mentioned this, just the idea of how much appreciation I have for my parents for paying for all my years of yeshiva tuition. It's not something anyone should ever take for granted, especially nowadays, or when you'll have children when you'll end up paying like $1 million, not even exaggerating, per kid. It's just Lord knows. He's paying for Cordova, he knows. Not something one should take for granted. I have really tremendous Chaver Tov, and for Mark and Lois for everything they do, and being able to join us, it means a lot to our children. There's not so many people that get my daughter happy, so her 2 grandmothers. And all women seem to do that trick, so it takes a lot of pressure on me since I never get the job done. I'd like to thank my sister and Itzik. Itzik's very busy. I don't really know so much of what it means to work 24/7 until midnight. I'm not a tour guide. Maybe Citron sort of knows that, but I certainly don't know that. He wasn't supposed to be here on time, but when you play on Team of Kadosh Baruch Hu, good things happen, and it means a lot to have you here and to live so close, and all the time that we get to spend with each other. It's really very, very precious. Sarah's uncle had a family simcha, and he was I also pre-recorded throughout the week, so the thank yous are 6 minutes. So 3 minutes in, so another 2 minutes. Sarah's uncle was here for Uncle Daniel was here for a simcha, and was able to join. So I'm here for the Miriam Katala. So it's a tremendous. It's a real role model of mine. He epitomizes what it means to be a Ben Torah, but also someone who works, a successful dentist, and a real Eved Hashem, and always I've never seen him not with a sefer, and tremendous Yerei Shemayim. And if you like anything or a friend, you can talk to him because he's got 50 years worth of words. I would like to thank my very close Chaver, Johnny Jerome, for being here. Now I can't say Johnny only came for the Siyum, but Johnny hasn't been here since '09. And when I told him I was making a Siyum in November, he did book a flight 2 days later. So we can say if he's here for the Siyum or just Dom came on vacation, I don't know. But it really means a lot. I spend a lot of time a day, and I feel in those Shana Beck groups of tracking my conversations with people. I talk to Johnny a lot. I saw it yesterday in one of the groups I'm with him. We actually just broke the 60,000 chat mark. So for those of you that are young, maybe you can relate that. For sitting thinking 60,000, I don't think I've sent 60,000 WhatsApps in my life. So that's only in one group. I have another group with him which I didn't check. So that's only one group. The nonsense than 60,000, probably. It means a lot to have him here. Really does mean a lot. I'd like to thank all my Rebbeim who helped me in my quest. For those that don't know, I'm going to be making a Siyum HaShas. Made me think it's a party with Nestle. Nestle a lot. Thank you guys. I'd like to thank my Rebbeim who taught me all these years. Also I remember when I bought a Shas when I was Shana Aleph, Adam Berman came over, he's like the recipient. Look, Mark bought a Shas. I didn't know it was such a big deal, but then last year a guy bought a Shas also, and it was a big deal. He actually made me leave his office to see a Shas. I wasn't so amazed, but okay, but whatever. The recipient said the key thing now is you have to go through it. So, 14 years later, I could actually say, maybe to the day, who knows? I could say I was Mekayim. I went through it. So, I'd like to thank my Rebbeim who, for Shana Aleph, for Boaz, for Natanel, and Receive, who we did half of Kedushin together, and that summer when I got home, I finished Kedushin. Then Shana Bet, Reb Jake, I saw come in. Okay, it's hiding, like to hide on him. We did Masechah Sukkah together, and Rosh Hashanah and I had a Chavrusa where we went through Brachos and Megillah. Those for the recording will be able to see this. My Chavrusas in college, Eitan Mishkov and Eitan Blumen. I learned each of them for 3 years. Avi Zipsner, we learned the summers between Shana Aleph and Shana Bet, or after Shana Aleph and Shana Bet. And Jacob Sherman, who was my Chavrusa for the last 3 years, for 3 years in Queens, and we went through, he's actually probably entirely the reason why we're here. We went through 300-400 daf. Like we really covered a lot of ground, and as well, it wouldn't be, they make into every siyum. Rav Ari Leibowitz and Rav Shalom Rosner, who for everything they do for Klal Yisrael in and of itself deserve to be mentioned. And anytime anyone talks, but for the amount of shiurim I was able to listen to them, and Mir Hashem in a couple of moments, I'll share an idea that I heard from Rabbi Rosner, but they really help a lot. And obviously, Art Scroll was a big help, and the Mesipta Gemaras, which I found only later in life. Still don't know for Shammai. I tried to explain that. I still don't know if you understand what the Mesipta Gemara is, but for those of us that can't learn, but don't want to use Art Scroll, it's really incredible. Huge fan of the Mesipta Gemara, and that's been a main player in the stretch run of my learning. And Chaviv Achron, Ayeshes Chayil Sarah. I was nervous. I would forget at the end. So, but Baruch Hashem. Sarah just does everything for our children. Be able to just seamlessly. I don't work insane hours. I am around a lot. There in the morning and night, so it's not like one of those people who's never around, but just seamlessly everything runs so smoothly, and we wouldn't be able to do anything without her. And the Gemara in Brachos and in Sota that talks about the amount of schar a woman gets for sending her children to learn and for sending her husband out to the base medrash. And Sarah really does motivate me. She's a very light sleeper, and I wake up very early, or maybe not very early, or earlier to those who don't wake up early. I wake up early. I don't think it's very early, but people who wake up at like 8 o'clock will think it's very early. And every day for the last 4 years, maybe one time she has not woken up from my waking up early. So, and she doesn't always go back to bed, because like if I wake up, okay, I go back to bed for a second for my nafkamina. So really that's been the main component. There's been Masechtas that I've learned at 5:15 to 6 o'clock. In America was like the best time to learn because no one's up then. It's just beautiful. It's early. It's really great. Like here, it's not so. You wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to 342 WhatsApps, and you want to catch up and emails and everything, and people are up and like your Yetzirah wants to talk to them. It's a little more difficult to learn, but for most of my 15 years of learning Shas, I was in America, so it made it a little easier. And thank you so much. Really, would not have done without you, and the utmost of cars to you. Every Erev Shabbos, I talk to my friend Brian Goldstein, or he calls me every Erev Shabbos, and depending on where I'm holding, we decide whether or not I pick up the phone. He asked me this past Friday, when did you know you were going to finish Shas? It's an odd question, because on the one hand, when I had 4 daf left, I was pretty confident I was going to finish. I'm not one of these people that I didn't think I was going to die. I didn't think like I wasn't going to finish. I had 4 daf left, and even when I had a few Masechtas left, I thought I was going to finish. So the better question that I got at it, and it made me think, when did I first think I might finish Shas? Not when I thought I would finish Shas. I finished my birthday actually a week and a half ago. The day before, when I had 25 lines left in Maseches Yuma, I knew I was going to finish. But when did I think I would? When did I first think I could finish Shas? When I was in 11th grade, I was after Shkava Minyan, like a kiddush. Maybe dad was a caterer. Throw around that. I was eating kugel and cholent, and Ellie Portnoy comes over to Dovey Quint, didn't know him, and he said the following. Beginning of his 12th grade, if you finish Shas this year, I'll make you the most glamorous banquet you've ever seen. It'll be a gala banquet. For anyone who's ever hosted a dinner, it's going to be like this grand dinner. It'll be unbelievable. So I don't know if Dovey ended up doing it, but in my head, it was the first time I thought of, maybe that's possible. Maybe people could finish Shas. But, like everybody else in high school, that conversation really wasn't thought about until last Friday when my friend asked me, when did you think you'd finish Shas? So I didn't really put much thought of it, and I certainly did not begin my quest of Shas. When I was in 12th grade, I bounced around a lot of the shiurim in 12th grade. 1 shiur, 2 shiur, 3 shiurim, and then they said dayenu. They said no more shiur for you, but we'll throw you a bone. When you apply to yeshivas in Israel, we'll lie and tell them you're in the shiur, because it'll be hard for you to get in if you're not in the shiur. So you may have thought I was in the shiur. I may have pretended I was in the shiur, but there was no shiur for me. So I come to the principal. I'm trying to think, like, what should I do? They're like, no, we're gonna have to fail you, which might not seem like a big thing, but like after yeshiva, you'll want to go to college, and trust me, it'll be annoying. I'm like, okay, now let me think it over. If I was able to sell Kit Kats and make hundreds of dollars a year before, I'm certainly capable of thinking of a plan on how I'm going to graduate high school. Think it over. I'm like, it's November, December. Why don't I learn the Masechta? I'll learn the Masechta. It's got to be between like 60 and 80 dafim. Okay. I tell the principal, we're going to do that. We're going to do a parak of Tanakh. We're going to watch ESPN. I'm going to wait for the guys to get kicked out of shiur and have lunch with them. Okay, I didn't mention that part. But he's like, oh, great idea. And like, I'll report to you. Like, okay, whatever, we'll report it. We'll talk about it. So I didn't know what Masechta did. I didn't even know what a Masechta was. And I certainly, like, anything I learned in high school, I was like, I thought it was like a virus. I had to stay away from it. Sham, I know, he didn't like Gemara in high school. Now he knows Shas Pet, so he knows what I'm talking about. So I come down in Jamaica State Friday night for davening. They were probably singing. Even then, I didn't like it. I leave. I go to the base medrash, and I look for Gemaras that are like probably the 2 art scroll volumes. That seems like that'll probably be in like that realm. And I knew how to do math back then. I figured 35, 40 dot per volume. We're in business. Okay, I come back up. I have a Maseches Nida. I'm learning to the introduction. I'm like, what in the heaven's name is anything talking about? I don't understand a thing that's going on. I'm like, okay, I guess I committed to Nida. I'm like, I didn't know what Nida was. I had no idea what I got myself into. This guy, Eitan Wiener, comes over to me, and he sees me learning that, and he's like, I've known Mark for a long time. He certainly ate in Eloy, so why is he learning Nida? As Yissi Clapper could relate, as having known me through high school, I certainly wasn't in Eloy. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, I gotta learn a Masechta. It's like, well, why are you learning Nida? I'm like, I don't know, 70-something daf. It's a perfect thing to do. It's like, after Ma'ariv, like, try to daven for 10 minutes. After Ma'ariv, we'll figure things out. Like, okay, fine. We go back down. He gets me Masechtas Avodah Zarah. I'm not sure why we didn't pick brachos. That would have made a lot of sense. The first one in that realm, long dafim, like it would have made a lot of sense, but it wasn't what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted. So we had Avodah Zarah. And then from the next 8-9 months of my life, I lived Avodah Zarah, literally and metaphorically. Hey, buddy. It was all I was doing every day in school. I came to the MTA from 9 to 10. We learned whatever I learned in Avodah Zarah. Then I did my parak of Tanakh. Then I watched ESPN or television in the morgue lounge, and I waited for guys to get kicked out, and we did that every day. That was my schedule every day. It was the first time in high school I ever learned. But then the hard thing is people say, I can do Daf Yomi. What am I going to do Shabbos and Sunday? I'm able to do, or here Friday and Shabbos. I have the train. I'm able to learn on the train. But what do I do when I don't have the train? And it didn't matter. Even on my off days, even on a Sunday, even when the football game was beyond tempting, and my kishkas were telling me I had to watch the football game, I could not watch anything until I did some portion of Masechtas Avodah Zarah. And every single day until the end of the year, I did Avodah Zarah, and then I ended up finishing like a week and I think the day Shalavim left, like that night before, like a week and a half before I came. We had a huge Dougie's banquet. I should have known then I wasn't going to eat dairy because I was just having poppers and wings for breakfast, lunch, and dinner the next week and a half. And I wondered why I had a stomach when I got to yeshiva, but you only have poppers for 21 straight meals. It could do a number. It could do quite a number. But it really gave me that chalik of no matter what, it didn't matter. Like a CEO, you have 100 tasks. I cannot go home until I did every task, and every single day I had to learn Gemara, and that's what resonated. That's what I was able to do. When you don't do Daf Yomi, when you're on your own cycle, you have to motivate yourself. Daf Yomi is a self-motivating thing. You're doing a daf a day, and then the next day another daf. Whether you know it well or not, okay, separate question. But the idea of doing it is a motivating force. But it's not motivating when you don't have that. So you had to push myself. It wasn't shyif to have a day where I didn't have some form of Gemara. And then 15 years ago, and I really do believe for every single person in this room or out there, I don't know how far out we're backing up, but for every person here, at least for the men, it's definitely shyif and feasible to be able to finish Shas. Like everything is hard work, but nothing in life comes easy. I wasn't sure what I wanted to say as like the Torah portion. Maybe that was Torah, I don't know. But so I thought the best thing would do, there's 6 Adar, and I happened to also, I finished probably Gemara on my birthday last Shabbos ago, and then the next day I happened to finish Mishnayos also. So I'm going to take an idea from each of the 6 Adar, although we're going to stick with only Gemaras because I don't try to advertise and go to learn Mishnayos. It was not so enjoyable. Never learning the Mishnayos was enjoyable. At least I enjoyed learning Gemara, but I got to get share from Lauren on how to enjoy learning Mishnayos. Does it all day. So the first idea is from Zerayim. We'll go to Brachos. Daf Lamed Amud Beis, the beginning of the 5th parak. The Chasidim Rishonim would get to davening 1 hour before davening. They would daven for an hour, and they would stay an hour after. So the Gemara asks, like, what does that mean? 9 hours a day? Like, how are you doing that? Like, okay, so nowadays that really wouldn't be kedai. No one can live a life if they're spending 9 hours a day. 9 hours a day on davening. It wouldn't be shayach. So Reb Rosner, when he gave that shiur, and I reminded him, he was a scholar in residence in Jamaica States in May of 18, when, remember that? We walked in. But basically, of course, we had to walk from Garden Hills to Reb Rosner, and I reminded him that he said this word. He said it 12 years ago, he didn't remember. Like, he said that when he says sha'acha, it doesn't literally mean an hour. No one's doing an hour. He says, do 2 minutes. Come 2 minutes before davening. Stay 2 minutes after davening. And the difference it has on your life is really incredible. You know, I had the distinct pleasure of going to prayers with my daughter this week for Mincha on Monday. She wasn't crying, that's why it was a pleasure. And we got there a few minutes early, and I was just thinking at that point, like, how different. Usually when I go with my kids, I try to get there late to make it less unbearable with them there. But I got there early, and they were very good. And how different it was having a minute or two before davening, and how much it changes your davening. And the chizik I get from my father and my father-in-law, who get to davening very, very early. They go to a 6:30 minyan. That I wouldn't say the crazy fast 6:30 minyan, but fast-ish, and they get there 20, 30, 35 minutes early every single day, and it's just programmatic for them. They just do it. They don't know how to not do it, and the amount of chizik and how different your davening is when you're there early as opposed to, you're running late, you're putting on your talis and tefillin, they're in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and you're saying Ashru while tucking in your shirt, and your tzitzis are coming out of your flying, whatever's going on, and everyone knows in their own way of what's going on. And none of it is good. It changes your davening. It really changes your davening. Even more for me, how much it is to stay after davening is really incredible because everyone's in a rush. I get it. Everyone's in a rush, but because I know from the days like Rosh Chodesh, we were late today. We ended late. I had to run out. And you're just stressed. I'm stressed. Taking off my towels early and this and trying to get the last Kaddish. When I spoke to Rav Concheros, I explained how important it is to answer Yesh Mei Rabbah. It's you don't want to miss those. I want to tear up 70 years of evil decree. So it's very, very stressful. So the idea of being able to come early and to stay for a few minutes, just a shah could be a moment, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it is, it changes everything. Moving on to Moed. The Gemara in Shabbos on Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph, as Joe knows it so well, he did it 2 days ago. When you die, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to ask you a few questions. Are you honest in business? Do you set aside time to learn? Did you delve for the Yeshua? And then he said, Sakta Priya Ravia. So it's interesting in general that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can ask you. It's interesting that could be a mitzvah even because what are you going to do? I don't control it. You don't control these things. How can it be that I have to have a boy, I have to have a girl? How can it be? So the Maharsha has a beautiful shot. A few, Johnny would know in our group, there's a few things they talk about, what's the Mahus of Marc Merrill? What the things I always talk about. The Sekin's up there. It's also Brachos, I'm going to talk about that. Shidduchim is up there. Living in Eretz Yisrael is up there. Weather, a huge weather guy. Love weather. I have to look at the 10-day. I can't remember it, but every minute I look at it. I'm a huge weather guy. The Jacksonville Jaguars. I think these are my mahusas. And a main thing, Shidduchim is very, very much on my mind. And the Maharsha says there on that Gemara, Sakta Pri Ravia, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to ask you, did you have a boy and a girl? Because that would be Kayam to Pri Ravu. Where you've been Kayim, but a Sakta, did you try to help other people find their Shidduchim? There they use the Yisomim, but I think it could apply to anyone. Were you trying to make Shidduchim? And that Gemara really, really has resonated with me for all these years, how much effort one needs to put in. And it really, during Hurricane Sandy, for those of you that don't know about it, it was a bad hurricane in New York and Jersey, 7, 8 years, 9 years ago, whatever it was. This girl told me she needed a shidduch. I went through my phone, I looked through every guy, and I made a shidduch. I got married. That's not a crapshoot, I don't know what is. And okay, it's a crapshoot, but we need to think. It's hard. We don't know people. Life's very easy to make excuses. I do it all the time. Able to take out the garbage. No, do it later. Clean floor, Shabbos in 8 hours. I'll do it in 4 minutes before Shabbos. It's very easy, but it's definitely a thing that's within the capabilities, and definitely a mahus of mine that Gemara and that Maharsha really resonates with me. Moving on to Nashim, from Jeremy Weider, he's a Rosh Yeshiva in YU, although if you just say Rabbi in YU, you just say Rosh Yeshiva. That's what Moshe Sia was being thrown out, he's a Rosh Yeshiva. Like, you're a Rosh Yeshiva? It's like, no, they made it up here. Okay, you're a Rabbi in YU, you think you're a Rosh Yeshiva. Don't worry, both. It's not going on in HaTorah. You're only you, no one else is saying the Rosh Yeshiva. Maybe Skan, but no Rosh Yeshiva. For Jeremy Weider, when the Yeshiva was learning Gittin or Yivam, I forgot which one, he said the following idea. When you go through these Gemaras, it's very important to realize these are actual cases, divorce, cases of Yavam. They're real things. And you have to be sensitive. You don't just fly over. You have to really think about it. And it's definitely a very true point. It's very easy to go through these Gemaras and be like, okay, whatever, it's a Gemara. The Gemara and getting, yeah, it's sad. I divorced my wife because she overcooked the soup. It's sad. But okay, that's what the Gemara says. But no, to really understand that, this is what's happening in real life, and not to just think that these are hypothetical cases. And that goes back to my point when I started learning about Azar, living through the Gemara, that you live through the Parsha, or you live through the Gemara? Which one? What do you say? Do you say you live through the Parsha, or you live through the Gemara? Okay, whatever. We'll talk after. So I always feel like you have to live through the Gemara, and this is at W Resident. There's just one idea, the Gemara in Gittin, which actually I did learn with you in Nun Zion with Daniel on Tisha B'Av would give a shir every year in Jamaica State. So even before I married into the family, I would come to listen to shir. It was my home turf anyway. And we were doing the Gemaras of Kamsa and further on Korban Beis HaMikdash Gemara. So there's a fascinating Gemara in the middle of the Gadata that talks about Haman Harasha. Haman's a bad person. He had descendants who were learning Ibnei Brak, and Sisra and Sancheir. They had Rishayim, and they had descendants that were B'nai Torah. And it's really true. You have no idea. It's never too late. As Sikhs can relate, I was telling him today that I don't care what a guy does in yeshiva now. I care what you do 5 years down the line, because what's the difference that you do now? We'll see what you're doing down the line, and you really never know. And that's, obviously, no one here is on Haman Arash's level. But if Haman Arash had kids and great grandkids learning in B'nai Brak, there's no one that can ever say I'm so far removed that I have no chance. And that gets me to my first to Nezikin, and my first Gemara, Avodah Zarah. It's a very famous Gemara, though. Jake can remember, Rosh Mulevit said you're never supposed to say famous Gemaras, because what's famous for me might not be famous for you, but there's a well-known Gemara. So that could be the same exact thing. In Yud Zayin Amid Aleph, Elazar ben Dordai. My brother actually said this about me, so I might see him in high school, so I don't know what he was implying about me, but in any event, the Gemara goes that Elazar ben Dordai, there was never a Zona he hadn't been with. He was Mr. Zona man. He was with every one of them. And he heard of a new one in town. He was so excited. He traveled, he paid, he did everything he could to get to the new zone. And B'Shas Maisa, as things are going on, she passes gas. And she says, the same way I passed gas and that's never coming back, you're never coming back. You're a lost cause. You're done. And at that point, Elazar ben Dordai, he drops. It's like, oh my God. You could have Repeter in our first year of Smicha. He said how you could have 20 years of drasha that connect and finally hit to a person. But it's not right away. It's not going to be one drasha. It's 20 years. 20 years of Musar, it's 10, 15 years of me listening over and over to the Tamil thoughts, which is able to have an impact. It wasn't 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, it's 100 times of listening to the same Torahs, which is able to make the impact. And finally, Elazar ben Dordai, something hit with him. He has the moon, he has the lights, he has the sky, he has everyone to daven for him. And no one's giving in, no one's budging. And finally, he's like, it's on me. He cries, and he dies. And the Baskel comes out and says, Rav Elazar ben Dordai became a Rav. Some people get it over a lifetime, and some people get it over in one moment. But further building off that Gemara in Gittin, there's no such thing as I have no chance. I can never do it. Elazar ben Dordai. You can look at that Gemara. Some Gemara they get my wife to try to learn. Because I think they're great stories. She doesn't like to read them, but you can read that Gemara, and you're not going to think that you're not going to confuse them for Chaim Kanievsky. They're very, very different. But he was Kol Olam Haba, Sha'achas, which is something every one of us would strive for. It's never too late, and tshuva is always within, and reaching heights is always possible. Kachim is a beautiful thing, because if not for Daf Yomi, no one would learn Kachim. But no one who doesn't go through Shas would learn. I spent 3 years on Kachim. Probably having spent 3 years learning the Sect of Shabbos, Hilchos Shabbos would have been much more productive for me and my family, but because of this idea, I got to go through Shas. What are you going to do? Got to do Kachim. And it's just incredible because that's a chelik of Torah that would really, before Meir Shavir, I really feel no one, except for Kachim calls, no one learned Kachim. And the fact that you have people learning Kachim and that every person that makes a Siyum says this exact idea that I wouldn't learn Kachim if not for that, then it's just really beautiful. And the idea in Kachim that stuck with me, in Menachos, when John Stefanski, it's a hard room, hard to know where people are. When he made his Siyum on Menachos, actually last Hanukkah time, I think it was Hanukkah, your side. And he was saying that, when you do Menachos, you get like a little hiatus of 10 dot that are bearable. You get some tefillin stuff, tzitzis, HaTorah, mezuzah. So there's a few dot on tefillin. And my father told me before my bar mitzvah, I hope that you'll never miss a day of tefillin. I hope you'll never talk dvarim b'teilim with your tefillin. Okay. Probably shouldn't have sent me to high school then. But I wasn't zocheh to that. But a few years ago, I was doing menachos. It finally hit me what kedushas tefillin is, and I remember asking a question last year. I really needed an answer for it. He won't talk with his tefillin. It was so annoying. It's trying to motion. And I thought it was Torah. I thought he could have answered, but he will not talk with his tefillin. And Baruch Hashem now, for about the last year, I really never, and there's some people I think they definitely try to talk to you when you have your tefillin on. Those people try to talk to you after Baruch Shamer. They're called annoying people. But, what are you going to do? And I really try very hard not to, because there really is an idea to Kedushas tefillin. For those who are in Leiva Torah, don't take it for granted. Seeing Rav Mordechai till noon wearing tefillin is not a stop. It's not a stop. You should not take that for granted. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if jobs mostly can allow one to do it, but it's beautiful that Leiva Torah allows them to do that, and it's really not stopping. There's really a lot of Kedusha to tefillin, and even if you have your tefillin on still a second after the last Kaddish, a Kaddish Baruch Hu is not going to smite you. He's not going to end your life. It's mutter, and if you have it on a minute before davening, also that's also mutter. I know for myself, because twice a week I have to daven at home, and my wife works, and naturally, when you daven b'yachidus, davening is a lot shorter, especially if it's supposed to you go to a minyan that's not super fast. And I know for that, it hurts me that I have my tefillin on for shorter, but because my kids like to go to the bathroom when I have my tefillin on, so I have to take it off. What are you going to do? But there really is an idea to Kedushas tefillin, and to me, it's become very, very special. And last but not least is really my wife. And there's one other thing. There's a crazy story I heard last year that there's a guy. Crazy, big Rav. He stays up all night after on Isra Chag for Pesach and Sukkot, because he wants to put tefillin on the first second he's able to the next morning. He doesn't want to miss a second for 7 days, 8 days, whatever it is. He didn't put on tefillin. It hurts him so much. He wants to rush that opportunity. So it's always chizik when you know that there are people that they really want to do mitzvahs. They're running to do mitzvahs. And the first idea to run to do tefillin, that's what we got for Kachim. For Taros, the Sechas Nida is a while ago. I think this was like the daf last week. The Gemara in Nida, I think it's in Lamed Levine. It's a strange Gemara. I think it's strange. I think it's also very famous and very well-known Gemara. That when you're Mordechai, when you're in your mother's womb, you learn Kol HaTorah Kula. So it's also if you're thinking about was Esav learning Kol HaTorah Kula while getting excited about Avodah Zarah? It's an interesting in of itself. But you learn Kol HaTorah Kula. And then when you wake up, when you're born, they bang on you and you forget all your Torah. It's odd. I'm not such a mystical person. I'm not a philosophical person. I don't understand these kinds of things. I don't really understand the purpose. I don't get it first off, and I don't really understand the point. So the Gra has a beautiful answer on it. He says the real reason why you do it is it's important to know in life there'll never be a Gemara, there'll never be a Torah you can't do because you knew it. Once upon a time you knew it. Once you know something, it's not so hard. It's only hard until you know it. Once you know anything, it's not hard. That's the idea. And the other idea, which I said at both my sons' Shalom Zachars, is the idea of a melus. It's very important. If we knew Kol HaTorah Kula, so yeshivas wouldn't really be in business because what are you doing if everyone knows everything? And it would be pointless. Your life would be pointless. It's the idea of I knew everything. Two Johnnies. The idea that I knew everything and now I have to work towards getting back to it. And I really do feel these last 15 years has been living that Gemara, that it was taken away from me, and the living to get back. And now I'm here to Hashem. I did Kedushin Shanav. I just started Kedushin last week, and going back to I also done Avodah Zarah again since then. So the first Gemara that I have not done twice. So going back to that point, just that idea of constant amelus, and it pertains to everything in life, and anything And my brother once told me, like, there's no difference between a Rebbe and an accountant and a lawyer. If you're very successful in your parnassa-wise, he said if you're very successful in your profession, you're going to be fine. And if you're not very successful, you're not going to be doing so well. It's like everything in the world. It all works that way. Like principals of big schools in America are making $300,000-$400,000. That's a good salary. Maybe not tuition's $40,000, but that's still a good salary. If you're not successful, you're making $30,000. Obviously, that's not a lot. But it's the idea of anything, hard work in anything, you're really able to reach the greatest of heights. 2 months ago, I was talking to Joe about whether or not I should go see Rav Usher. I don't know if Joe remembers this. Remember this? I should see Rav Usher. I just finished Tamura, and I was about to start Yuma again. I was going to finish Yuma. Now, what am I thinking? Why would I have to see Rav Usher? Rav Usher is a yeshiva psychologist. This was my 4th time going through Yuma. I hadn't been able to do it. Every time I stopped in the middle. It was the only Masechta I'd ever gone through in Shas. I stopped in the middle. I couldn't do it. I got to the 3rd parak and I couldn't do it. I stopped. So maybe when my friend asked me, when did you know you were going to finish Shas? Maybe it was once I got to the 7th parak of Yuma. So he may have been onto something. I couldn't do it. I'm like, maybe I got to see Rav Usher. Joe's like, you don't have to see Rav Usher. You got to do it. It's like, you really think you need to see Rav Usher? Joe like tries to make everything like, no, you're going to be great. And I really didn't know. I was very nervous. I couldn't do Yuma. Yuma was my Yetzer Hara. I'd imagine most people who make Siyums on Shas, who don't do Daf Yomi, they're not finishing on Yuma. They're probably saving like Tamura for the end, or like Zvachim above Basra. They're not, Yuma, like, when you're going through Moed, Yuma's more, maybe Arab, like Yuma's more peaceful. I couldn't do it. So there's no greater joy for me that's what I finished with, because that proved to me at the end I was able to do it, and I was able to overcome the hurdle, and I did not have to go see Rav Usher, which was good because I don't know what he charges. My bracha is, and maybe it'll be in this very house. I don't know, probably 25 years at Goldsmiths will still be hosting Merrill celebrations. We should probably book the hall already for the bar mitzvah. My hope is that I'll be here for my children. My children will be able to learn Torah, and they'll be able to be Siyum HaShas. A beautiful video that Rav Aryeh Cohen sent me from Nothing Steve Tinkle, like crying, like how beautiful it is when your children finish Shas. And maybe I was crazy, but I thought when my father and father-in-law said they were coming for the bris, as opposed to the Siyum, I thought the Siyum was a much bigger deal. I've been to many brises in my life. I've had a lot of hash browns in my life. This is my 2nd Siyum HaShas I've ever been to, so I don't think these happen quite as often, but I don't know, people didn't agree with me as much. But here's Hashem, I'll be able to celebrate having my children finish, which would be no bigger bracha in the world for me than to see them have great accomplishments in Torah. Go to the end of Yuma. It's a halacha brought down in Shulchan Aruch. Tana Devei Rabbi Yishmael, Harola Keri Yom Kippurim. If you see Keri on Yom Kippur, Yida Kol Shana Kol, you need to be worried the entire year. It's probably very scary. You also Shana, but if you live out the entire year, move to Achlosh, you ben Olam Haba. You should know that you're a ben Olam Haba. So as I saw in the Masechta, the Sfas Emes has a beautiful idea on this. He says, what does it mean you lived out the year? It means you lived out the year with Tova. If you live out the year, like every time you walk, chairs fall on you, or chandeliers hit you in the head, or I had the 9 days were brought in, I had a massive leak in my bathroom. If you're having like those kind of stars and you live out the year, you're not guaranteed jack. But that's not good. But if you have a good year, if you have bracha and everything's going well for you, then you can be guaranteed that you're muftach lo shehu ben olam haba. I don't know if that's not. I don't think that's like the pshat of the Mishnah Berurah, but a beautiful pshat of the Sfas Emes, and once again why the Sifta rules all. Amar of Nachman Yitzchak Teda Shikolam Kula Rai Wuzaveh, because you should know the entire world. They on Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to be with your wife. You're not allowed to be with never allowed to be with any woman. You're not allowed, not your wife, but you're not allowed to be with your wife. And he was able to do something. So punish Baruch by not punishing you, by showing you that you made out the year and it was a good year and everything was latova. That's a punish Baruch's way of showing that you didn't need that kapara and atonement on Yom Kippur, and therefore you're forgiven. You're going to live long and multiply further. Hadar love Yom Kippur and Tzvicha V'Sechet Yuma B'Shas. Hadron alach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, the Hadron alach Daizel Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, the Daizel alach V'Osim Yinach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, V'Osim Nam Lov Av Hadim Lov Av Hadim. Hadron alach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, Hadron alach Daizel alach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, the Daizel alach V'Osim Yinach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, V'Osim Nam Lov Av Hadim Lov Av Hadim. Hadron alach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, the Hadron alach Daizel alach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, the Daizel alach V'Osim Yinach Mesechet Yuma B'Shas, V'Osim Nam Lov Av Hadim Lov Av Hadim. Hira Tzom V'Nech Adonai. Eloheinu Chaya was hidden. Should the Hazar Asecha Umnasido Umaseh Utin Imin Umabah. Chanina Bar Papa, Rami Bar Papa, Nachman Bar Papa, Achai Bar Papa, Abimari Bar Papa, Rachman Bar Papa, Rachman Bar Papa, Sorcha Bar Papa, Adar Papa Dar Papa, which is an idea on the Papa that the Gemara in Shabbos brings down, that they used to, whenever the Bachars would make Siyums, they would host a Siyum, so they were, that's why they're Zocha to be in the Hadron Allah. So for the goldsmiths also, they just host thing after thing after thing. So Mirza Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu should just shower them with bracha amongst bracha. Harim Nad and Evanesti Race or Secha with Peter Chabis or Nia Nachtu, Sessim Chabis or Planadish Mecha, the Secha with Shma, Moy Besa, Hamim is Secha, Kilam Hili, Beef, Hamim is Secha, Manboy, Bosch, Lamor, Kapi Kuzecha, Kibam Kigisani Berchat Tradi, Nayam Dini, Kuzecha, Main on Main, Selva Ed. وديما نحن لك أدوناي ألوهينا لهي بسيرة السامتة خلقينا ميوشي بيت المدرج وسامتة خلقينا ميوشي كرونو شأنو مشكيمم لهي مشكيمم أنو مشكيمم ديبر تورو لهي مشكيمم ديبر بتيلم أنو أميلم لهي أميلم أنو أميلم كام سخار لهي أميلم إنو كام سخار أنو رازم لهي رازم أنو رازم خيي هأولم هابا لهي رازم وبير شاخص شنمر أتا ألوهيم تردين وبير شاخص أنشي دميم وميرمال ويخصو جيميهم Vania Tzachbach, Hira Tzon Lefanecha, Adonai Elohai, Kishrein Shedartanu Simsech Kadima Shas, Chainta Azrim Asfil, Sechtot, Starim Achmirus Haimam, Wol Amin, Shmul Asas Chayim, Kol Divrei, Tamuz Arzach V'Yavos, Chuz Klat Hanoi, Mamorai, V'Samidei Chacham Yamid Li Uzari, Shavot Samush HaTorah and Pim Bizari, Zari Adon Skayim B, Bizhalecha Tanche Osa, V'Shachlat V'Bor Alecha, V'Chisosa, Hisi Sichacha, Kivi Yerbuyamecha v'Yosikol Choshos Yamim Orachamim Biminas Kolosh Rakavot Nayz Moitain Anay Vrecha Samovat Shalom. Adel Yiskadesh Merabah Yom Ativatzi Yiskadaso Achayam Mesayah Sakal Yazon Achayom Vimnei Gardal Yerushalayim Shachala Hechla Begabah ومأكار باخنا نيفرا بنا رغم سباخنا ديشما يواسرا بيامي كشابري خما خسي بكاري بخاي خان يمي خان خاي خبيس إسرائيل باقلا بيد ماكاري بمروها يسبرخ بيشبخ بيسبرزون بيسمسي بيسادار بيسالة بيسالة شمي قرشا بريخو وإيوا من كوبي خسا بشيرا سادش خسا بنخم وسلام رام يوم بمروهم يسرا يا ربنا يا تاميدي معكو تاميدي ساميدي معكو مندوس كيم رايسا دي بياسر دين دي بخاصة بياسر يهي وهنا خان شبر راب خيرا بخيز راكم غير خيمت نري خيف وكلام يقدم يسمعوا بمروهم يهي شبر راب من شماي بخيم وين رفا يسرا بمروهم Shalom Rama, V'yat Shalom Aleinu, Achla Yisrael V'imru.